Hello, my name is Tim, and I'd like to read you a story. Today's story is the magic shilling. A shilling is a coin used in the UK, the United Kingdom, an older coin. According to tradition, the leprechaun owns a special purse containing a charmed shilling. Though there is just a single shilling, no matter how often you draw out a coin from the purse, it's never empty. A young lad called Pat O'Reilly knew this tradition and looked long and hard for a leprechaun. He hated work above all else and hoped to become rich and carefree for the rest of his days. One day, on his way home, he spied a small green figure sitting on a piece of rock in the corner of a field. He crept up as quietly as possible, and grabbing the leprechaun by the collar, he pinned him to the ground. "Well now, my little fellow, I have got you at last," he exclaimed proudly. "You had better show me where the gold is, or for sure you will never see another day." And with that he shook the small body vigorously in the air. The leprechaun begged to be released. He cried that he was not a real leprechaun and had no gold. But Pat was not going to be fooled by that and steadfastly refused to let him go. At last the leprechaun agreed to take him to a pot of gold hidden in a glen in Clare. However, Pat was not very keen to travel such a long distance for fear that the slippery spite might escape on the journey. "Besides," he said, "I know full well there is gold hidden much nearer than that." "Would you let me go if I gave you a magic purse?" asked the leprechaun, hoping to persuade Pat with this reward. Pat thought he had better consent, because he could not rely on being able to keep the rogue from escaping much longer. So he took the purse, which was of the finest red silk, and looking inside, he found a shiny new shilling. While his attention was diverted, the leprechaun simply vanished with a hideous laugh. Pat, feeling very happy with his magic purse, made his way to a local tavern. There he met three acquaintances. In high spirits, he called the owner, Mrs. Maroney, and asked that they all be served with the very best drinks in the place. "Where's your money?" she asked suspiciously, for it was well known that Pat O'Reilly never had a penny to his name. "No need to worry," he reassured her. "I am a gentleman of means now, and you won't catch me doing an ounce of work again in this life. Come on, lads, drink at my expense." And so they did. And then Pat ordered a grand dinner for all. But Mrs. Maroney was still suspicious, and said that nothing more would pass their lips until they had paid for what they already had. "All right, just as you wish," said Pat confidently, taking out the magic purse. He recounted how he had come by it, and his friends asked wonderingly, "Was it really the leprechaun that gave it to you?" "Indeed it was," said Pat. "And the virtue of this purse is that even if you take shillings out all day long, they'll still be coming in a stream, like whiskey from a bottle." To prove it, he pulled out a shilling. But, lo and behold, when he went out to take another one, the purse was empty. The leprechaun had given him the wrong purse. A look of rage and embarrassment came over Pat's face when he saw what a fool the tiny imp had made of him. There he was with an enormous bill and just 1 shilling with which to pay it. Of course, no one believed his story now. "Away with you and your leprechauns," shouted Mrs. Maroney. "You're just a liar and a thief." His companions were no less annoyed at being tricked, as they supposed, into drinking so much more than they could afford. To top it all, it looked as if they would have to pay Pat's share also. Angrily, they took Pat by the shoulders and pushed him roughly around the room. A passing constable, hearing the rumpus, came to find the cause of all the trouble. What's the harm in getting a purse from a leprechaun, declared Pat, defending himself before the law. None at all, said the policeman, if you can produce the leprechaun and make him testify that he gave it to you. Only that will prove you did not steal it. Of course, poor Pat could not do this, and he was put in jail. A sentence of 30 days hard labor was passed on him, the first he had ever done in his life. Needless to say, he was in no great hurry to meet a leprechaun again from that time on. The end.